about witchcraft.
Did you turn to witchcraft?
Witchcraft. That's what you said.
Did you?
Anything that's not Christian is witchcraft to you.
No. You turned to witchcraft.
I turned to witchcraft?
No, it's witchcraft. That's what you did. That's why when you walked in the door, you said you burning your sage. Huh? That's witchcraft. Yeah, it's witchcraft. So my name is Phyllis Johnson, and Kamilah Johnson is my daughter, my oldest daughter, and she has her side of the story of things that's been happening in her life, and I just wanted to have a chance to tell my story because everybody has a story. It's just two sides, and I'm made out to be, in my opinion, this horrible mother that's working with CPS, the police, the FBI against my daughter. So I just wanted my side to be heard from the beginning. I can't even go from the beginning, but just major points and how I feel about everything. And what everything that I've been doing to keep my grandchildren out of foster care. So if I could start from the beginning, well, not the very beginning, but I know her story is that my grandson has been medically kidnapped. And that's her story. If she feels that way, and I'm not saying that, CPS is perfect. There are a lot of institutions are corrupt. Most institutions are corrupt. There's even corruption in the church. So I'm not trying to make anybody look bad, and I'm just tired of my name being, drugged through the mud and, like I'm this horrible person. And I also want to clear my other grandson's name, my firstborn grandson, which is her firstborn son, because it allegedly, from what I've seen, supposedly started all with him. Well, in my opinion, and what I've seen, it didn't start all with him. From the time he was, teenagers are teenagers. As she say, he was teenaging and they got into it and he set everything up. Well, prior to that, 2 years before that, when he was 15, so this was the first time that she put him out. She gave me problems as a teenager. So teenagers give problems, They go through things. I gave my mother problems as a teenager. So she's at 15, she put him out in Texas. And I told him, call the police because she can't put you out. He's going, Grandma, I'll go sleep over there in the grass in Houston, Texas. I'll go sleep over there. I'm like, no, you're not going to sleep, You're not going to sleep in the grass. Yeah, outside in 100-degree weather. You're going to go over there to the McDonald's and you're going to call the police and keep the phone in your pocket until they come because I don't want them shooting my grandson. So that's when they had the situation and they said that she couldn't put him out because he was a minor. He couldn't disrespect her. He had to be respectful. Yeah, he was being very disrespectful, as she's been disrespectful to me as a teenager. And since then, very, very disrespectful. So as she's lost all respect for me, I've lost respect for her. She's my daughter. I love her. But yeah, as she says, I don't like her. I don't. I'm telling the truth. I'm not going to sit here and I don't like the person that she has become. And I like the power and the drive that she's always had. I like the motivation and everything that she does. She's intelligent. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's my daughter, and things I instilled in her, if she wants, as far as beliefs, her belief systems don't have to be mine, don't have to be the way that I raised her to be. That's her choice in life. We have to stand and give account whenever, all of this on this earth is over. So fast forward. So with the video of my grandson, I was on one end of the phone. I was texting him. I was on the phone with her. Now, her and our relationship has been shaky since she was 12, because something happened when she was 12 on Christmas Day. Every year after that, on Christmas Day, something happened. So our relationship has been shaky. We tried to get along just for the sake of the grandkids. But through the years, with my first grandson, couldn't she keep him from, you can't see my grandson because you want to babysit. You can't see my grandson because you want to babysit. Then as the other children came, you can't see them. Don't call them. Don't go up to their school. Don't do nothing. You don't want to do nothing for them. You don't want to do this. You don't want to keep them, that. And I don't have to. They're my grandkids, but there's no law that says that I have to keep my grandkids. But I kept them. I've kept them for a couple of months at a time, several times. A week or two, maybe sometimes sporadically. But I've lived my life. I've raised my two daughters, and I don't. It's no law that says that a grandmother has to do those things. So if we have whatever she's mad, about, we've had exchanged words. Yeah, but I've said things to her that I've regretted. We went to the altar and prayed years ago, and she picked it back up, and I left it there. She picked it back up, but I'm not going to spend the rest of my life apologizing for my wrongs in my life that I've done. So moving along. So I didn't know that she was pregnant with the baby. Let's fast forward to the baby, because I have all three of the children now. The two I don't have legally. No one would help me try to get any type of custody with them. The kids weren't in school for several years, but sporadically, 2 months here, 2 months there. They finally completed a whole year of school this year. They're way behind. They're way behind in school. So when the CPS thing, I didn't know she was pregnant with the baby because we weren't talking at that time. So my oldest grandson called me and told me, Grandma, you're going to have a daughter. Well, it wasn't a daughter, it was a boy. And I'm like, well, what? So then when? This was like in January, I guess. He said in February. I'm like, what? I didn't know she was living in Texas. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. So then her and I started kind of talking a little bit. I was there when all my grandkids was born, except for him. They were in Texas, but I made it up there. I jumped on a flight, dropped my job, jumped up there, was FaceTiming her the whole time that she's having this baby. I never knew the father, nothing. I don't have to know the father. But I talked her into going to the hospital because she was at home trying to have this baby, which you can do. You can do that. There's no law to say that you don't have to have a baby. You can't have your baby at home without medical care. 4 days. Water broke. 4 days. I'm talking to her like, you need to let's just go to the hospital, because she had her own opinion about medical this and medical that. Just go to the hospital to make sure that the baby is positioned right. And then you just come home. They can't make you stay. So she finally agreed. I had to be to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. I worked 12-hour shifts in the emergency room. And we had been FaceTiming for 2 or 3 days. And she said, okay, I'm going to go. I was glad that she was going to go because I knew they would keep her. I knew something was wrong. I knew 4 days after your water breaks, something's wrong. And the baby was in distress. She was in distress when she got to the hospital. So I said, I'll call you at 5 o'clock before I go to work. And when I called at 5 o'clock, so when I left on the phone with her at 3, she was at the hospital. I said, okay, she's made it to the hospital. So she's answering questions with the nurses and doctors and everything. So I said, okay, I'll call you at 5 when I wake up. Before I go, I called at 5. Everything was in chaos. Mama in distress, baby in distress. We got this and that. Sound like what it does in the ED when we have traumas. So the baby was in distress. So I stayed on the phone the whole time with her when she was in labor. I was there when all my grandkids was born. So I'm like hurt now because my daughter's in, pain. I could tell the baby's in distress. I caught my job, and God is so good that I had already taken off 6 months prior. I had already taken off, not even knowing she was pregnant, taken off time from work for that week. I just had one last shift to work. So I called my job. I'm like, hey, I can't. I have one last shift to work. I'm going on vacation. I can't work this last shift. I got to fly to Texas. My daughter's in distress. The baby's in distress. She's having a complicated pregnancy. Bam. Booked the next flight. Got up there 10 o'clock that night. With my because I knew my grandkids was there. She would be in the hospital. My other 3 grandkids was there. So I went up there, start helping out with that situation. So as to fast forward, so the baby was very sick at that time. He was sick. He was on all kind of monitors. He was in ICU. I don't know how long. I think I stayed 2 weeks. I finally got to go see him as I got my COVID test and everything to see him. And he was born in 23, January 25th of 23. And January 25th of 24, he would end up in the hospital again. So as I had access, so now, so I'm going to fast forward all the way to, so he had respiratory issues because he inhaled his first meconium, which is his first bowel movement. They can have them outside or inside the parent. Usually, sometimes if they're stressed and they're going through stress, they'll have it inside. If he swallows it, he's okay. If he inhales it, it's a sticky substance. It's his first bowel movement, and it got to his lungs. So he had all kind of issues. Then he was Down syndrome, trisomy 21. She didn't tell me that. Well, she didn't know that until after he was born because she didn't do prenatal care. She would have known that then. So, and I happened to hear her talking on the phone to the doctor. And I said, what kind of syndrome? What is he talking about, a syndrome? She said, well, he has Down syndrome. I was going to tell you, but so he was sick then. I don't know how long he stayed in the hospital. But when I got access, we're going to fast forward all the way. So they went on with their lives. I came home, and she was telling me everything. She was telling me everything that was going on. Like her story, the things that she's saying in her story are true. Not, I would say most of the things that she's saying as far as what the doctors were doing, they clearly violated her rights. They clearly violated her rights on many levels because it's her choice what she wants to do with her baby. That's her choice. If she wants to leave and take the baby, she can do that. So whatever Texas was doing, whatever her rant is with Texas, hey, she got a valid reason. So the Amber Alert. So anyway, life's going on, and I'm asking her. I'm saying, well, did you take the baby to the hospital? Well, how's his respiratory system going? She said he's fine, and this and that. He's doing this and he's doing that, and through the months. So come, I want to say February. Well, he ended up getting sick again. So I want to say somewhere because she had came up here. And the kids were at my house. The baby was too. And I think he started getting sick again. And her and I had an argument that day. She told me she was perfect. She told me she was God. I told her, God gonna show you that he's God and that there's no perfect one but him. And I said, well, it's whatever. I said, she's probably never gonna let me see the kids again. This is my story. I finally left them years ago in God's hands. I was like, I can't keep crying and stressing that she won't let me see my grandkids. So with the Amber Alert. So with my grandson, so in the meantime, afterwards, my grandson with the video, my grandson, he's not the perfect kid, But he was trying to do something with his life, and she supported him in that. She supported him in his track. She supported her. I don't know what happened, but she supported him. She supported her kids. She was a great mom. I'm not saying she's not a great mom now, but I'm just saying he was this guy excelled in everything. Football, track. Even when he was little, he was wrestling and doing everything. So she was at his track meets. She was there. He was getting medals, up in Texas doing all of this. And she was supporting him. All of a sudden, she quit supporting him. She quit taking him to school. The coach was coming sometime take him to school. He had no, I don't know what happened. But when he turned 17 in this video, whatever, he was on his own. He was working, coming home, spending all his money on Ubers or me sending him money. I'm smuggling him phones because that's the only way that I can have contact and find out what's going on with my grandbabies. Because she was doing her life, doing her thing. So I just want to know that my grandkids are okay. She's not going to tell me. She don't let them call me. They still my grandkids. That's my lineage. That's my blood, They my grandkids. I love them. As any grandmother should love their grandkids. So when the video came, she's on one line. He's texting. They arguing. He's 17 now, or whatever. And so he's like, Grandma, she's telling him we got to get out. He sent me some more videos. I didn't send them. I'm like, well, you just got to come down here. I said, that's her house. And if she wants you out of there, you got to be out of there. You can't be, I shouldn't have to wash dishes. I shouldn't have to do that. I'm not even here. She don't take me to school. My grades are dropping. I ain't going to be able to do track if I keep doing this. But that's her house. You come down here. He's like, well, what, Grandma? I'm going to work 2 more weeks. And then I'm going to come down there. He was going through his little drug thing up there. He had a little incident up there where he OD'd on some drug stuff up there. She had called me and told me that, some gummies or whatever. I don't know if he was trying to kill himself. I don't know. So I was so worried about him being up on them streets in Houston. And I said, you got to come down here, grandson. Can't be up on them streets. And I was so worried until God gave me a vision of angels. One angel, the huge wings, just covering him. Like I couldn't even see him. I just seen his huge wings. And every time I got worried about him, I would get that vision. And he made it down here, on a Greyhound bus. He got down here. When he got to me, he was so depressed. He even had an OD situation at my house on gummies. He said, Grandma, I'm so, because he couldn't run track. He couldn't do football because his grades I said, you don't ever know what God has for you. I said, but you got to go to school. You got to graduate. So they put him in this program through the McKinney and Vito program. It's a program for kids that fall through the cracks or are homeless or parents went to jail or something like that. And so he graduated. I seen the light coming back to his eyes. He's passing these tests. They put him in this program. He passing these tests. He graduated. He graduated at Raytown South with a class he didn't know nobody. And I thank God for that because he pressed and he studied. He came home, he studied, and he worked at the Hy-Vee up the street from me. He didn't like it, but he did it. But he wanted to move back to Texas. He had a thing against his mom now because he felt like she just abandoned. She's his firstborn. Her firstborn, they had a bond like this. So Amber Alert, fast forward to the Amber Alert. She calls me. She's telling me everything that's going on while the baby's in the hospital. So when I got the medical records, because I got access to the medical records, because I now am the sole conservator of him. And she's the secondary possessor of him. They didn't terminate her rights. So when I got the word that I was at work, she called me. She said she was going to take the baby from the hospital. I'm just going to take him from here and this and that. And I said, well, I can't remember really what I said because it wasn't anything I can do. I wasn't gonna try to talk her out of it. It's, I'm not there. I'm not knowing what that's her story. That's her. I didn't have to go through that with a child, to see my child's very, very sick. So CPS knocked on the door. She called me at work. Mama, CPS is on here. They trying to take my auntie. I'm like, what? What for? What for? She's like, they said something about I didn't give him his medicine and this and that, and I didn't go pick, and I missed his appointment. I have his medicine right here. It's on the video. She was videoing. Well, they did say, don't miss his appointment. And they said they're not letting him go freely, like a discharge, because he's really sick. Something was wrong with his heart. Well, on her dad's side of the family is heart issues. Her dad died from heart issues. Her auntie, her dad's sister, died from heart issues. Her grandmother, her dad's mother, died from heart issues. Her cousin died from heart issues. She has a cousin right now that has heart COPD. And I spoke with a relative. He told me, and I just spoke with him just the other day, just like day before yesterday. He said, I had a hole in my heart. When I was little, I couldn't do sports. I couldn't do anything. It's on her dad's side of the family because I always stayed close with her dad's side of the family. So, the CPS and this and that. So she was saying she's not going to give him, them the baby. Y'all don't have a warrant, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't have gave up my kids either. I'm not going to let y'all take my kids, no. So for whatever reason she ran, hey, I probably would have ran too. When somebody come trying to just take your kids and they don't have no ballot, it's not valid that you didn't go get the medicine, that you missed the appointment. But I think it was important to them because they realized how sick he was. So she was telling me that they said he didn't need heart surgery. That he just had a little muscle that needed to be clipped. She was telling me everything as it was going on. And I was like, okay, well, good, that's good. And they can just go through his groin area and clip that little part or whatever. Well, when I got the medical records, access to the medical records, you could see the dates and times. And I didn't have time to access or print those up and send them. You could see no prenatal care. No prenatal care. You could see when he was born. That's the first date that was on there that I saw. I don't know if they didn't have, I couldn't see it all or whatever, but what I saw was January 25th of 23. That was his birth. The time he stayed in the hospital, that was there, with all his medical records. Then the time you got to go do follow-up after the baby leaves. So I seen that. And then there was nothing but them trying to reach out to her to say, you need to bring the baby in. We need an inpatient in. You need to bring the baby in. Apparently they found some things. I don't know if maybe they found something with his heart. I don't know. But they said he had a congenital heart defect. And so she didn't respond. So they're saying inpatient. So I'm thinking that if she would have took him when he was a baby, with just right with them, when they found that out, they would have just snipped that little muscle, and then he could have just had a normal life as far as heart-wise. He wouldn't have had to take all the medicine. So with all the medicines that they had him on, yeah, that's probably, they probably was excessive, but I'm no doctor. I'm no, physicist, scientist, none of that. But I know that he was in a critical state. So that's one time that he almost died. Was when she tried to have him at home. Second time, when she didn't respond to them reaching out to her to say, hey, you need to bring him in. We need to bring him in inpatient. We need to do, they didn't say what they needed to do. I couldn't see that. They were just saying, inpatient request, reach out to the mom. Have you reached out to the mom? Have you reached out to the mom? But she wasn't responding. So here 9 months later, he's in complete heart failure. 9 months later, and which was at the time that he ended up on his first birthday in the hospital again, when she was here, and she told me she was perfect and that she was God. And so he was in the hospital again. And then when she took him from there, that's when CPS got involved. So she's on the phone with me, with CPS, and she's saying, I'm working with CPS. I'm working with the police. I'm scared. She's not scared of these people. I'm scared. I'm not scared of nobody but God. She ain't never seen me fear nobody in her life. God is the only person I fear. It ain't a man on this earth can put me in a heaven or a hell. I don't fear no man, no woman. Now I'm scared of mice. I am scared of mice. But to say I'm working with CPS, if I didn't work with CPS, your kids will be in foster care. Still. So when I got the call, first I got the call about the two. First I got the call from the FBI. Here's to say, when she said that I don't like her. When she first ran, you call me. You call me every time. She calls me every time she have a traumatic situation going. She called me. And then I try to be there as much as I can, if I can, So she said, CPS trying to take the baby. Then she ended up, she said, I gotta go. She ended up 2 days later, she showed up at my job with kids. And they in the van and they looking like they on the run, for real. They really looking like they on the run, like it's been a rough ride. Baby, I've never seen him looking rough, but yeah. And she's like, she was going to stay in the Airbnb, but the person that was supposed to have been here met her, they wasn't there, and this and that, and that, and that. And I was like, okay, well, you can use one of my debit cards, because I had 2 debit cards. You can use one. I didn't know, there was no Amber Alert out at this time for her. But they were working on it. They went to get the warrant. That's why she knew that. So I said, here, just take my debit card and, put your money on. She put her own money on it, and I didn't have, because I got two or three accounts. So I let her use that to be able for them to go get some rest and go, do whatever she needed to do. And in fact, when the Amber Alert came out, she was on her way bringing the kids over to my house. She didn't know that one of her friends called her and told her there was an Amber Alert out in Texas. Then Texas FBI started calling me, saying, have you seen Kamilah? Then Raytown police started coming, to my house, and FBI and this and that, and where's Kamilah? And can we search your house? And this and that, and we looking for Noah. I'm like, who is Noah? Like, I didn't know, like that Noah thing. Yeah, something's up with that Noah thing. And I truly, deep in my heart, I truly believe that they were going to try to do something to my grandbaby. If they were going to try to make him disappear, make him human traffic him, whatever. I know it in my heart, because the Lord started revealing some things to us. And I'm like, she would name her child Noah. That's not the name she would name her child. Like, and then we said, do you think she secretly named him Noah and just didn't tell us? So whatever they had up, it didn't work, because I had people in Africa praying. We had churches praying. We was praying. We was fasting. That whatever the enemy had a plan, that it would not work. And now you got the FBI involved. And then they probably said, you know what? We're going to leave this one alone. Then they had the foster care place that he was staying at. So I immediately, my life was turned upside down, because when she was ready to bring the kids over and the baby, she found out that there was an Amber Alert on her. So she changed her direction or whatever. And so we said we weren't going to be communicating, because we know they tracking and everything. So they was coming to the house. FBI was coming to the house. They was asking me questions and this and that. Well, do you know where she's at? And this and that, da, da, da. I didn't tell them, I know, because I didn't know where she was. I didn't know where she was. I didn't know, because once she didn't bring the kids and found out she had an Amber Alert, she did her own thing, I just started praying for them. And so they could even look at my phone text. They said, well, do you have another phone? I had another phone that just me and her communicated on. I didn't tell them that. But I turned it off. I had to cut off because I knew they was tracking everything. So she was doing what she was doing in my name off my debit card, but it was her money, you know. But I didn't want my family. That's my family. You know what I'm saying? That's my family. That, you know, my daughters, my 2 daughters, my grandkids, that's my family, you know. So she went on the run. FBI called me on Thursday, February the 29th. They said, we got her. And I was grateful because I know things can go all bad. They could start shooting, not, you know. And he was like, we got her in Minnesota. And I'm like, Minnesota? We don't have no family in Minnesota, you know. But I don't know who she knew. So I'm like, good. I'm saying good because for her safety and my grandkids' safety. Because I know that they'll start doing anything. Like they'll say she had a gun and start shooting. And I told them, I said, hey, whatever y'all do, y'all better know it's 2 outside of this Noah that y'all looking for, whose not name is Noah. I said it's 2 other children with her. So if things go all wrong, remember it's 2 other kids with her. You know, so don't start just, you know, I'm saying basically don't start just shooting and killing up at people, you know, because we know they do that. So they gave me the number to Minnesota, and they said, well, she's going to Hennepin County Jail. The babies are gone to the hospital. The kids are gone to the hospital. They're all right. And I'm like, okay. So I'm calling. They said somebody will be calling you tonight. This is on February 29th, Thursday. Someone will be calling you. I'm waiting for somebody to call me. I'm waiting. I know that probably she's not going to call on the first night that they got her, booking her in and all that. So now I'm trying to find where's my grandkids at, you know. So I'm calling and I'm looking online trying to find and I found a place that was open, a CPS that was open 24 hours. And the man was like, I'm so glad you called because whoever wrote my number down, whoever wrote your number down, they wrote the last number wrong. And that's why we couldn't reach you. So I was calling, I'm saying, look, my daughter got called, stopped in the Amber Alert, and the kids and this and that, and somebody's supposed to be calling me. And he said, we was trying to reach out to you, but whoever took the message wrote the last number down wrong. So I'm glad you called. So I was like, well, where are the kids? You know, where? They said, well, the baby's in the hospital. And the boys are going to be going to foster care. And I'm like, well, you know, now, you know. So my daughter's in jail. My 3 grandkids are foster care. I can't travel to Minnesota like on a regular basis. So he said, we'll let you do, he said, we'll let you do a comfort call with them in the morning where you can talk to them. So I'm praying that they get in a foster care where the people are Christian or the people are not pedophiles and stuff like that. And God answered that prayer too. So this is how God did it. So I'm waiting the next morning for a comfort call with the kids. And a lady called, and this lady helped me all the way through. And she said, and I told my daughter, I said, be ready to go get the kids tomorrow. Tell your job that you're going to have to go get the kids. Now, my job had already been informed on what was going on because I said I might have to take leave. I might have to take off at any moment. They was very supportive of me. And the next day, a lady called named Lauren, and she said, can you come and get the kids? I said, yes, ma'am, I can. I'm going to call my daughter. I said, tell your job you got to leave. I start throwing a few things in the bag. I said, and she gave me the number to the foster care people instead of them calling talking about a comfort call, because they was brainstorming, like, they just got stopped here. They're not us. They're not part of Minnesota residents. Texas is saying they don't want them, even though they had been living there for 5 years. So we jumped in the car after she got there. We jumped in the car and left at 12 o'clock. Well, we left that same day. The FBI agent called. The one that had been helping, they called and said, we got her. He works for Kansas City though, but they back and forth. They came. They said, well, here's your little little gift for gas money, and buy the kids something, and this and that. And I was like, well, thank you. And so we drove up there, and we got up there at 10 o'clock that night. They were at a TGI Friday. Come to find out, it was a pastor and his wife that they lived with. We stayed the night there. We drove back Saturday morning, and I've had my grandkids ever since. So the baby, I'm like, where's the baby though? I'm like, so where's the baby? So when I got to the foster care home, they were like, well, the baby's things were there, and the boys, they didn't have much, but they said they had went and brought them some things, because they didn't have anything, because everything was at wherever she was. And so we got the boys, drove back, made it back Saturday. We left Saturday, and we've been back, and the boys have been with me ever since. I got them enrolled in a summer camp program. So the baby. So I'm like, so where's the baby? So before we got there, she said, somebody just came and got the baby stuff. I'm like, what do you mean? Somebody came and got the baby stuff. She said, I thought the baby was going to be coming with us, staying with us, and that you were going to pick up them all, and this is what my daughter said, and this is true. And I'm like, I'm asking, so I'm even calling the FBI guy back. Like, hey, can you find out where's my grandson at, where's the baby? He said, yeah. He said, yeah, I'm gonna help you. I said, because somebody told me I got this 2 times that 2 men on a plane came and got the baby. I'm like, what do you mean 2 men on a plane? What do you mean 2 men on a plane? Like, I hope one's a doctor. Well, I know that altitudes and heart problems don't go together. So I said, well, maybe Hennepin County and Texas Children at the hospital, Hennepin County Hospital Children's, because he was in bad condition. She said he was living his best life. He couldn't walk at 1. He wasn't trying to walk at 1. He could turn over. He could do a lot of busy things on the bed, but he was not doing a lot of things that he should have been doing at his age. So, and I seen that for myself. And I asked her, I said, why is he not walking? Why can't he sit up? She said, well, Mama, he's just slow. Like, he just slow. Some kids are slow. I said, but he ought to be trying to stand. He ought to be able to sit up on his own, And I think that was because there was something going on with his heart. He had energy. He had energy, but it wasn't like consistent energy, like it was something going on. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. It had to be something going on with him for him not to be doing the things that he should be doing at a certain age. And some kids are slower than others, but no, he got sick. So I've had my 2 grandkids ever since. So they could not tell me. So on the medical records, he pops up. He was gone, I want to say, maybe like a week and a half. Nobody could tell me anything. I'm like, where? Even the FBI said, they don't. And even the lady that had been helping me with the kids that said, can you come and get the kids? She's like, I don't know. Everybody's like, this is strange. I'm like, I'm scared. I'm scared Now, like, where's my grandbaby? You know, like, I'm calling, I can't get nothing. So I just couldn't get nothing. And all of a sudden, bam, he popped up at Texas Children, you know, almost 2 weeks later. And he started going in foster care. We had to start, oh my gosh, had to get the kids enrolled in school, had to go through the ICPC process to try to get the baby out of foster care. Had to do everything, do background checks, give all my life history, my husband's life history, everything, bank account information, credit card information. We had to give our whole life story to get baby back. We started Zooming with him every Friday. She's kicking against the wind. So she was still in jail. So she got me a note when she was going to get extradited. She ended up getting extradited after they got all that figured out. She said, okay, she'll get extradited or waive extradition or whatever. So she had a girl give me a call to say she's in, I think, Kentucky. And they extraditing you, like, isolated in a little place where you can't move or whatever. Or, don't talk to nobody, don't do nothing, no, just, So ever since then, so even when she was in jail, I'm trying to talk to her and tell her, look, we got the kids. I'm trying to find baby, and baby popped up at Texas Children and this and that. And well, y'all need to get out there and fight. Y'all need to get out there and do this. Y'all need to get out there and do that. I said, well, how am I gonna get out here and do this now? I got kids now. I got 2 kids. I got a job. I got a life. How am I gonna get that? FUB. I'm like, really? Okay, here I am taking care of your kids, turn my life upside down. I ain't getting no money. I ain't getting no food stamps. I ain't getting no checks. I ain't getting no legal assistance. I ain't getting nothing. Ain't nobody trying to help me do nothing for the kids. We just doing what we got to do, putting them in school. One had to go back a grade because they hadn't been in school. They sent it for their records in Texas. No, they hadn't been in school. I know they hadn't been in school because I would stay up talking to them for hours on time. At night, they hadn't been in school. She said she was homeschooling them. Send them in a room with a book, is not homeschooling them. Take them to the library, is not homeschooling them. They have to have a curriculum. Right now, today, you can tell that they have not been in school. They don't have what they should have gotten. So, fast forward to today. That's my story that I want to clear. So, we finally got the baby on September the 21st. Brought to me. They flew him here from Texas. He's a special needs baby. So I had to take off 2 months from work, no pay, until I could get him into a daycare. He had to have his food blended, pureed every day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I had to do that and still work my job and still take care of her kids. My grandkids, yeah, I got a responsibility. They my grandkids. But when she got out of jail, did she call and say that she was out of jail? Nope. She didn't call us. I called my cousin. I said, have you talked to Kamilah? Because I know she's close with him. Have you talked to Kamilah? I'm thinking somebody didn't got my daughter. Somebody didn't, because of everything that she's doing or whatever. And me and my daughter was like, Mama, she's like, Mama, you don't think nothing happened to her, this and that. Call my cousin. My cousin like, oh yeah, I talked to her last night. Like, never. I've had the boys 16 months. 16 months. I had the baby since September 21st. Got him in daycare. He's in speech therapy, physical therapy. He's nonverbal. He's excelling though. Yeah, I'm giving him medicine. He's got heart issues. Everybody has their own opinion on what they want to do. She want to get him holistic care. That's her choice. But you when you want to fight all these other issues and fight all these other issues, fight for your kids to get your kids with you. You trying to teach people how to keep their kids. You got to have your own kids to teach people. Come on. and never said, Mama, I appreciate you. Mama, thank you. Mama, here, I'm going to send you some money. Until these last couple of months, she sent like $500. She sent them a few little clothes here and there, never. She's calling, have my kids call me. Have my kids call me. I said, no, I'm not going to have your kids call you. You call your kids. Your kids don't pay my bills. So you call your kids. So she finally got to a place where I said, when I get a chance to have your kids call you, I will. I work 12-hour shifts in the ED. I'm trying to take care of 3 kids, and one is the special needs. Get them into daycare. Ain't nobody helping me. Ain't nobody babysitting. Ain't none of your friends that you left food stamp cards with when you went to jail and then living with me to help your kids eat. They didn't come and help me. They threw all your private information on the porch. All your evictions and all your this and that and all your bank information and all your lawsuits. Threw it on the porch, left it on the porch. And you had the nerve to tell me, well, she has a lot of things to do. Well, ain't that something? So I still had the kids. She's talking about she's not going, I'm not doing no contracts with her as far as, because the case is closed. But they gave me a list of things that I had to abide by. Yeah, the case is closed. I'm the sole conservator. So if they had terminated her rights, I could just gave her baby. And so I had got to a place where, right. Y'all was just texting her saying, I'm tired of this. I'm tired. Listen, I got my own health issues. I'm tired, Listen, when are you going to get your kids? When do you plan on getting just the boys? I don't have no legal hold on the boys. None. When are you going to get them? She finally tells me, if I can't have a baby, I ain't getting the boys. Give me my sons. Give me my sons. No, you're going to have to go through the courts. If I had to go through the courts and went through what I went through to get your son, you're going to have to go through the courts. You could have been had your son. You could have been had your son had you complied and did what CPS wanted you to do. Yes, you don't like them. Yes, you hate Texas. Yes, okay, everybody got their beef with whoever. But you could have had them. Just like that. That's all you had to do. Turn in your information that they asked you to do, and you could have had them. And you said, I'm working with CPS. If I didn't work with CPS, your kids would be in foster care still. So what, was I supposed not to work with CPS? Okay, what did you want me to do? Work with them or not? I'm done.
Okay, so I guess I'll start off addressing the home birth. Okay. So I went completely holistic with Mayani being my last child. And, after you have so many kids, you get to gauge like, okay, I don't want her to be at a hospital. I don't want to do epidurals. I don't want them people in my business. I don't want him having no shots. I don't want them poking and pricking. I want to have a at-home birth with no third-party interventions. And it was actually 3 days that I was at home after my water broke. My water broke naturally. I did have a lot of resources, and I had people who were on the phone. I also had somebody who was there. But nonetheless, though, it was 3 days, and my mom did encourage me to go to the hospital, but I was going to go anyway. So it's not like I was just sitting there waiting for my baby to die or have some type of major ailment. And nonetheless, though, when we got to that hospital and I went into labor, Mayani stayed in the hospital for 3.5 weeks with the NICU and things of being in the NICU and doing the respiratory therapy and things of that nature. But at that time when we were there, we had scheduled all primary care physician appointments, and we had scheduled cardiology appointments, and they had also spoke something about his thyroid, but that ended up clearing up. But nonetheless, though, in June of 2023, Mayani had a cardiology appointment with a doctor by the name, it's a foreign last name. Nonetheless, he had this cardiologist appointment, and they went in and they looked at his heart, and they were speaking about the PDA. And that doctor basically said the hole is closed. It's not even a centimeter open. He's not experiencing any issues. I'll see you in 6 months. So we never, that 6 month appointment was scheduled after Mayani's first birthday, probably 2 months after, because that was in June. And so it would be in 2 months after that. But he had got a clearance from his cardiologist, was who never mentioned nothing about uh congenital heart failure, anything. The entire cardiac issue that we ever faced was just his PDA not being closed all the way. But I had got the confirmation that he was good to go. I never got any messages. She said that the message that she seen in the hospital records, that they were calling me and trying to reach me and trying to get in contact with me. I still had the same phone number that I had when I had Mayani versus when they came and took Mayani. My number never changed. Neither did I get any mail from the hospital to, oh, this urgency that they wanted to get in contact with me. And on top of that, Mayani had primary care appointments in between that time. And they all connected with the MyChart system. And nobody was like, oh, were you aware that the hospital was trying to contact you or anything of that nature? No, because we went to the cardiologist and I got a clearance and I never received any correspondence from them whatsoever. And so when it comes down to Mayani being sick, Mayani, he met his milestones before any of my kids. They claim, oh, he has trisomy 21. He's not going to be able to breastfeed. He's not going to be able to latch on. He's not going to be able to walk. He's not going to be able to sit up. He's not going to be able. They come with all of these deficits and all of these deficiencies for my child, which I refuse to accept. But Mayani was doing stuff before my boys who don't have a condition. Like, he was well beyond his milestones. He did know how to set up. He was rolling around. He was playing. And at the time that they come to try to take him, he was in perfect health. He did not have anything going on with him. So I would like to rebut that, because that's what I want to stand on. That because when he was released from the hospital, I did get discharged. I didn't do a AMA, against medical advice. They discharged Mayani, and when the woman came in, she said, which was on January 30th, Dr. Priya Hari, she came in and she said, because they were going to bring the catheter team, and she was basically like, well, the catheter reviewed his test and he doesn't need the procedure because it's filled with muscle mass. So the cardiologist originally told me he's good to go, see you in 6 months. Then when he spent 25 days in the hospital, and Priya Hari comes and she says, oh, we don't need to do the procedure. But then we follow up here all the way on April 20th, 2024. They put a device in his heart. So, that's a whole nother situation. But I'm just want to address these different things. As far as my teenager goes, I talked about that at the beginning of the first video. But what I will say is that he stopped going to school because he was out of his neighborhood. He was out of his neighborhood. I had him going to a school because he wanted to be on a specific track team. So once they found out that we had moved down the street, they said, okay, well, he can't go here no more. Well, that happened a week before Thanksgiving break. So he was going to transfer schools. So the night that the issue transpired, where he says that I threw him out and things of that nature, that was on a Saturday. That Monday, he was supposed to be starting his new school that was in the neighborhood. So this basically he's out of school just trying to fend for himself. That was not the case. The night he left willingly. There was no altercation. We was in the house watching movies. When Cartier left that night, he left out the door like bye, and didn't come back until 12 o'clock the next day. So that was the whole situation with that. And as far as him, trying to figure out, or, us having this arch rivalry, me and my teenager, yeah, he is very disrespectful. I'm a girl. She say I was disrespectful. But when you got a man in your house versus raising a daughter, that disrespect hit kind of, I don't know, I can't say different, but it come a totally different way. I don't know how to perceive it, but nonetheless, though, the disrespect, the arguments, but I don't have no ill feelings toward my son about the situation. But we will also, since we covering things, this depression that he's facing, we can talk about how he lied to CPS completely, totally, utterly, and telling them that I threw him out because he didn't want to babysit. You wasn't even there. You walked out the door. So you saying that I threw you out because you didn't want to babysit. You put this. He told these people this stuff. Oh, he told these people all of these things, creating these scenarios. But nonetheless, that was the last straw. And when it comes to trying to make a grown man do what you want him to do, it's not. It's not an easy thing when you're a mom and you have other kids around. It's a whole, he's either going to start influencing the other kids, it's going to turn into a bigger situation. So I seen fit for him to, because he said he didn't want to be there, but yet he still wanted to be there, you know? So that just, but you're killing the dynamic of the household. You know what I mean? You got you letting the boys watch you disrespect me and you doing all of this and I can't have it. So anyway, um, let me see here. Okay, so she talked about the two white men. Okay, so when I get to the reason that, okay, so we'll just cover it and we'll say the reason that I say, oh, my mom worked against me with CPS the entire time. So boom. Um, I'm gonna just bypass the time that I was on the run and I will just speak about this part when I got locked up. So I finally was able to get her on the phone after they kidnapped the kids, kidnapped me. I'm in Hennepin County. I get my mom on the phone and she's like, oh, this is all your fault. That's what you get. You think you all of that. That's why you sitting there looking like this now. You know, my kids just got taken. You feel me? Like I've been on a run for well, I'll say seeking asylum. I wasn't running for anything. But here it is. That's February 29th. Probably on the run for like almost a month. You feel me? Like, so trauma makes your body, makes you respond to certain things a different way. Once you hit a certain level of trauma, there is what formed is called PTSD. Like when we were seeking asylum, like if the boys drop something on the floor, like my nerve, I'm on needles. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like they looking for me and my kids. And I'm like, they can't barely drop a pin without me. What was it? You know, I'm wired on just constant neurons and protons just running, you know? So she's telling me, I'm like, okay, well, you can do this because while I was out, I was sending documents. Like I was sending like different lawful documents to different places and telling my story. Like I had already wrote it out and told it to a lot of different people. So I'm trying to tell her like, you can call these people, you can call these people because I had already set up these connections while I was seeking asylum. But she's like, oh no, you think you all of that, such and such and such, and I'm gonna do what I want to do. And it was just basically nothing that I could do with that at the point. And so I did. I'm like, man, F you, F you. You know what I mean? Because that's where it was right there. I'm like, I'm trying to tell you what's going on. I'm trying to talk to you. Like, really, I can't say what I was trying to do. All I'm doing is trying to get the message out, you know, because I hadn't talked to her before I had been unlawfully detained and kidnapped, etc. And as far as me complying with CPS, my whole gist of it is you cannot kidnap somebody's child under a fictitious illusion, then perform surgery on them and think that I'm supposed to because you wanted to. No legitimacy. And the records that she's seeing, I don't know I just got his medical records January 2025. I don't know. They had two medical files, one for Noah and one for Mayani. So therefore, I don't know what they done touched and contaminated and corrupted fraudulent documents. I don't know how real these medical documents is because the child by the name of Noah, birth year is 2024. Mayani's birthday is 2023. They literally created two different people and billing for them in the same hospitals and Medicaid and all of this. So it's so much to it. But nonetheless, though, when I'm in jail, you know, I would try to reach out to my sons. I wouldn't get no answer. And then whenever I would get a chance to talk to her, it would be like, oh, you need to give your life to God. You need to do this. You need to do that. This is all happening because you. I am not a Christian. That's not my life. The way that I get treated, the way that I've been treated by people in the church, the way that my mom treats me and speaks to me, the way that my sister treats me and speaks to me, they are devout Christians bathed in the blood. The way they treat me, I would want no parts of it. Because where's the love in that? You telling me you hope them people kill me? You done told me you hope I die so many times. You tell me, oh, the time she talking about, oh, I thought I was perfect. I literally just walked in the house. I walked in and we shared some type of conversation. It wasn't even nothing. And she's like, oh, you think you perfect? She just started going off on me. Nothing happened. We didn't even have no altercation. It was, you think you perfect. You think you all of that. I understand that she is my mother, but growing up in a house where you were constantly verbally abused, like whether it be, now I'm not gonna say she called me a couple B's or whatever, whores, tramps, sluts a couple times, but it wasn't normal. It wasn't a regular thing. But what was regular is you constantly being screamed at, you constantly being hollered at, you don't get no accolades for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like people always say, your mom says such good things about you. Your mom says this about you. But when she talking to me, I'm the scum of the earth. Like I don't get no respect. I don't get no respect. It's like I'm supposed to let her talk to me any kind of way because she's my mom. And I'm like, that's not going to work for me. And it is a fight with me and CPS. I'm not gonna say a fight, but it is you're not gonna take my kids and then come and tell me, oh, you need to do this class, you need to do that class. No, you out of line, and we gonna handle it as such. You don't get a chance to kidnap my kids, tear up my family, and then tell me, oh, come and do this. No, I'm not doing that. We gonna go blow for blow. So when I went to jail, people gotta understand when you go to jail or you go through a traumatic situation, the same person that went in that jail is not the same one that came out. I came out on a whole different type of mode, like whole different type of beast mode. And outside of me helping people, even though my situation is not completely solidified, I took this as an opportunity to do such because with my situation transpiring, I got to see like, wow, I'm not the only one. I knew I wasn't the only one, but when you hear other people's story, it's like, what? And so I'm not going to go through nothing for no reason. My pain and my trauma and all of that happened to me is not going to go for no reason. So if I'm in a position where I'm helping people now, then that's what I'm doing. But as far as me getting my boys, so you say, okay, I didn't give you no money because I ain't had no money. What? When you get out, when I got out of jail, I had nothing but I had a bag of paperwork. That's all I had. I tried to do the CPS people say, oh, go get a job, go to your psychology, go do all of this stuff. And when I was doing it and they see, oh, she's submissive. Oh, we got her where we want to. Now tell her don't none of that stuff count. Tell her we ain't using none of that. She got to go use our psychologist. She got to go use this. Nah, I'm not doing none of that. So that's where the buck stopped right there. And when it comes down to, my mom think I got a vendetta or like I hold the stuff from the past against her. The truth of the matter is I've succumbed that. I've bypassed that. I don't really think about, I don't get up every day like, oh, my mom did this, she said this, she did that. That is not my story. That is who created me into being who I am now. But as far as me feeling a certain way about my mom to where it controls the rest of my life and I'm constantly using her to put accountability on because she did this, she did that, I'm not going to do that. I let my mom do what she do and I do what I do. When she comes to me with opposition, I'll be like, I'm not about to argue with you. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to meet negativity with negativity. And in my mind, as I see it is, if when them people took my kids, if rather than my mom like, okay, I'm going to do what they say, I could understand playing the game to get the job accomplished. But she never told me, okay, this is the play. This is what they trying to do. I was never in the loop. I was always outside. I was always, you don't have no say-so about your kids. I'm about to call CPS and tell them this. I'm calling and calling my kids. I ain't getting no answer. I had a text for 12 days straight. Like, can you have the kids call me? Can you have the kids call me? So I've been parentally alienated from my kids. I've tried to reach my kids. But rather than to set up and argue with her or have this negative, this this whole negative energy surfaced around when I call, I'd rather just stay away, because what I know is this don't last forever. And I'm like, if these people violated my rights, they kidnapped your grandson, they did surgery on him under a fictitious name, put me in jail, split up your family, and ruined your life, why not have been with me? Like, nah, y'all ain't getting none of this off. Why did I have to be over here by myself? While at least I know you got the boys, and I respect that and I appreciate that. And I have told you thank you before.
No, you haven't.
I told you thank you. Okay. Moving along. I've said appreciated thank you plenty times. I guess it's not as in depth as she wants it to be, but it's been said. And the last time I was up here, and she was like, you should have been thanking these people. You should have been thanking that people. If this wouldn't happen, my kids would be with me. If this never transpired, my kids would be with me. True enough, she did watch my kids, during little winter vacations and things of that nature. But I've always been a hands-on mom. And her saying, oh, they was behind and they didn't see, I don't use institutionalism to level out my kids and say this, or like, oh, you're on this grade, you're on this level, you're behind, that curriculum ain't teaching them nothing. So when I do homeschool, I teach about questions she never asks them. So she, in her mind, she say, oh, they don't know nothing. They behind. My kids is more advanced than your average, because I don't sit up and take my time and think, oh, this is a blue duck. This is a green. I'm teaching them about the credit. I'm teaching them the procedures of what each officer of the court is supposed to be. I'm teaching them about sovereignty. I'm teaching them about having generational wealth. I'm teaching them about being able to manifest and having power within themselves and not looking to outside forces and believing in themselves. I teach different. So if you get them and you say, oh, the school said they behind. Yeah, according to that curriculum, but come and ask them something that I really be teaching, and then we'll be on the same page. But nothing's ever good enough. It's never been good enough, and at a time during my teenage years and my going into my 20s, I was a people pleaser because all I wanted to do was get recognition from my mom.
Never.
But once I came out of that, once I came into loving myself, into focusing on myself and recognizing that nothing is separating me from the source, and I started to build myself up and heal from all of my own past traumas, me being a people pleaser and all of the things that would be expected of me, I don't do. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much, yeah, that's pretty much like, and so even with me losing everything, as far as with my truck and everything, she told me that they told her that she could get my property. She said, no, I don't know how to drive a truck, and it was, and when I was trying to get out of jail, I'm like, I got the money to get out. She said, who gave you the money? She said, I ain't putting my name on that paperwork. She didn't care that I was in there. When I was in a vulnerable state and I was effed up, she kept kicking me while I was down. Every time I got on the phone. Every time I'm on the phone and from the jail, she telling me, oh, you need to do this. You need to do that. I'm getting talked to crazy
3 times I talked to you on the phone. 3.
And that was the 3 times. That was enough.
One was FUB, and I didn't talk to you no more after that. So, and as far as me calling you sluts and bees and all that when you was younger, lies. When you hit me back when we was 15, I called you 1B. Yes, I did. When we had that fight, because you was determined you was going to go out of the house, and you called, and I did. And I said, no, you're not leaving out. It's a snowstorm. You're not going anywhere. You're 15. You're not going and go hang with Sweetie or whoever it was that lived up the street in Hilltop. Now, other than that, I didn't ever say, oh, you a slut, oh, you a B, oh, you a this and that. You was out of my house and gone to college at 18. So what are you talking about?
Many times.
What are you talking about? Sluts? No, I had got in church. So cussing was trying to, and you cuss your kids. I have been on the phone when you have thought you hung up. Who the F did you do? Y'all, you made your kids to cater to the baby. They didn't know whether they was coming or going. I got them. They stand up all night. No, you talking about what you teaching them. That's good what you teaching them, but teach them how they do their multiplication tables. Ask them what's 6 times 3. They can't tell you. They need to know that. They need to know how to read. They need to know how to write, how to spell. They need to know what this means, the basic foundations of life. And you can teach them all that other stuff too. That's good. That's perfect. But teach them the basics.
So when I came and seen you, you said, I asked them the questions and they say they can't remember.
Can't remember what.
You talking about they timetable? Talking about
Yeah,
they
you know why?
forget.
You know why? Because they got a memory block from you.
They got a
They
memory
got
block
a memory
from me.
block that you put into them because you had them renouncing God. You had them renouncing. You had them. They're children too. They can believe the way they want to believe, just like you believe the way you want to believe. So you had them that when they got to my house, they would stand up all night, seeing spirits, jumping up, having nightmares, seeing demons, seeing this and that. Yeah, because of you. Because of you turning to witchcraft. Or did you turn to witchcraft?
I never said I was no witchcraft.
Did you turn to witchcraft?
Witchcraft. That's what you said.
Did you?
Anything that's not Christian is witchcraft to you.
No. You turned to witchcraft.
I turned to witchcraft?
Yes, you did.
That's what you call it?
You and my auntie's daddy, whoever, I don't know who his daddy is.
That's what it is?
You gave a fake name in court. Of the baby's daddy. They haven't found him nowhere on no social media platforms. No, it's witchcraft. That's what you did. That's why when you walked in the door, you said you burning your sage. Huh? That's witchcraft. Yeah, it's witchcraft.
Well, that's your opinion.
And you had your kids doing this. There is no God. There is no Jesus. There is no. So you opened up all those demonic portals on them.
I did that.
You know, and then you left them at my house, and you still ain't got them, but you're getting them today. Today you will get your 2 children today. Okay,
and so
you will get your 2 boys today, and you can take me to court like I had to go through court and everything I had to go through. And with my life turned upside down, you're gonna go to court to get him back. Because if I give him back to you, and you telling me I'm scared of the court, baby, I ain't scared of nobody. So you can sit up here and tell your story, and I'm gonna tell mine, and you're gonna get your kids today. Now, are you gonna get your kids today?
So the thing of it is,
are you gonna get your kids today?
You go ahead.
Are you gonna get your kids today?
Yeah, I get my kids today. Okay. It never been no problem
with
me getting my kids
for you.
Them the same ones that you gonna, so you tell them, okay, well, tell them how you talk about you want to give my auntie back to the, you want to give my auntie.
Oh, they know. You know
rather than you give it to me, rather than you giving them to me, you rather give them back to the court. Now that's working with me.
No. Whenever your kids can tell me like they did today, Mommy's not going to take us because she wants to, because you're not going to give her the baby. She's not going to take us and let you give her my auntie too. If they can say that to me, how do you think that make them feel? I said, y'all hurt children too. Even if I said, y'all didn't come together. Y'all came first and then my auntie came through the courts. I said, she's got to go through court. I can't just give you to him. You talking about breaking a contract with you? I would never do a contract with you to give you the baby. If they had to terminate your parental rights, I could have gave him to you if I wanted to, because then he would have belonged to me.
So rather than you making me go back through the courts, why not just figure out a way?
You got to beef with the courts. I don't. I'm not going to jail.
You straight talk about going to jail, but the thing is, you got more beef with me.
Giving him back to you.
You got more beef with me than the people that took him.
Wait a minute. You
got more people with me. You got more beef with me than
with your life.
With the people that destroyed your life. Them people came and took your grandson and did surgery on your grandson.
You did that.
And violated my rights and yours.
You did that.
And you got more smoke for me.
And then you talking about somebody wanting money. I never asked you for nothing till these very end moves. You said, Mama, I'm going to start doing better back in April. I'm going to start giving you money. I never asked you for nothing.
You ain't been going off about money?
Yeah, these past couple of months.
You've been going off about money since the day before.
Because if you could sit up on Facebook and eating you crab legs and you dancing and doing all this, you know, yeah. You getting her kids today. Today she's going to get her kids. I've said my story. I've said my whatever I needed to say because I wanted her followers or whoever else to know that I'm not this evil mother that she says that I am. I got your kids. I've been keeping them. I have a life. I have a husband. I have a life.
Give them all to me.
I have a life. You get your baby through the courts. That's what you will get.
And then we on the phone when I'm in jail. She like, oh, I'm like, well, won't you know this? He's a ward of the state. Ain't nobody even been to court yet. She already calling him a ward. I'm like,
what do you mean? I don't even know what is a ward of the state.
He's a ward of the state. He's a ward of the state. That's what you was on the phone saying.
No, I barely even talked to you.
On the ward, he's a ward of the state, et cetera, et cetera.
No, you're just lying. Ain't nobody lying. You're a habitual liar. It's what you are. You're just a liar. You're a liar. And you got so many people fooled that and you're a narcissist and you have so many people fooled and you try to project what you are onto other people.
What I project on you?
But you know nothing, because I know who I am, baby. I know my identity and who my identity is.
And I don't?
Yeah, I don't know what you know.
So what are you talking about?
I don't know what you know. I know who I am, I said.
So what are you talking about?
We talking about you getting your kids today. That's what I'm talking about.
What are
and
you
then
saying?
we're going to go through the courts because like I said, I will not do no contracts with you.
But you so
I don't
you
make
so
no
you so
contracts
tired
with
and you
the
so
enemy.
good. You so
I sure am tired.
Okay.
I'm stressed out getting your kids to school every day.
And I've been
putting them
doing
in
that all
summer
day
camp.
long.
So they your kids though.
Okay,
And you could have given
so
them to me.
I'm going ahead and take over mediation at this point. All right, so I'm
This ain't no mediation. She don't want to mediate. She don't like me, and I'm cool
I
with
don't
that.
like you. I love you, but I don't like you. I don't have to like you.
What's
I
your
don't like
reason
your
for not
ways.
like? What's my ways?
Because you're a liar.
About
and you
what?
drug my name.
About what?
Of somebody
What
that
I lie
helped
about?
you.
What
and
I lie
somebody
about?
that helped you.
You helped my
lied and
kids.
said I worked. Well, okay, you never answered my
You
question.
helped my kids.
If I did not, they your kids, and you always telling me you're
But
supposed to do
you
that.
did that in the forefront so you could create this image of the loving grandmother that has her
I don't
grandkids.
let me
But
tell
in
you
the back end, you
Let me
treat
tell
me
you something.
like
I don't want to be the loving grandmother.
You're treating me
Listen,
like trash.
I ain't
On the
never
back
wanted
end,
to
you're
be-
telling me you wish I died.
I never wanted to
In the
be.
background, you're saying that's what you get. Everything should have
I
happened to you.
never wanted to
That's
be the
what you
loving
say.
grandmother. I'm 61 years old. I never wanted to be portrayed as that. I want my freedom. I want to sleep late. I want to be off on my off days. I want to go kick it. I want to go out of town. I don't want to have. I have to find babysitters for our kids. I'm not trying to portray myself as a loving grandmother. I'm not. I'm a hard person. You know, so I'm not trying to portray. I love my grandkids though. And I would not let them go to. I would do it all over again because I would not let my kids get caught up in the system. 3 young black men, 4. I would not let them get caught in the system. They already got too many
But in the
points
same
against
breath,
them.
alienate them
You
from
know?
their mother, talk crazy about me in front of them, and all of that.
And you do the same, baby.
No, I
tell
don't even
the
mention
truth.
you. You're not even the
yes,
topic
you are.
of
They don't
discussion.
come,
That's
you
the
don't think
thing.
they come back and tell me?
They didn't told you nothing, baby. They couldn't have said because I don't sit up and talk about you.
Yeah, so anyway, she's getting
How?
her kids today.
How do they
getting
come
your
back
kids?
and tell
Are
you
you
they've been
getting
with
your
you for a
kids
whole
today?
year?
And how did I work with CPS against you? How did I have you alienated over here?
So when Mayani had all them bruises and was abused and neglected in CPS care, and you got him back and said he didn't have no scars on him, oh, that was working with him.
He didn't. When I got him, he didn't.
He's-
all right, y'all. Where y'all
he
plan on
didn't.
going with this?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to disrespect neither one of y'all.
Yeah,
Going back
yeah,
and forth.
we
Yeah.
not, yeah. So I just got what I wanted to say out. She's getting her kids today, the 2. She's getting her kids today. They will be outside waiting for her with their clothes. She's getting them.
So you gonna set them outside?
No, you're gonna get your kids.
You gonna set them
You're gonna
outside?
get your 2 boys.
Yeah.
You're gonna get your 2 boys. That's all. Me and her are not. We're not trying to reconcile anything.
Curl days used to be a whole thing. But with Fenty Hair Home Curl, we do it at home, together. Because curls aren't one size fits all. Home Curl is made to work across waves, curls, and coils, and it plays nice with different textures, whether your hair is fine, thick, soft, or super coily. It smooths, defines, and brings curls back to life without that heavy, crunchy feel. Just soft, touchable bounce, and shine you can see. For her, it's quick and easy. For me, it's peace of mind, because I know I'm using something made for curls like ours. Fenty Hair Home Curl. Real definition, real hydration, real results, right at home.
Quick disclaimer, as y'all can see in the video, in the beginning of the video, Kamilah and her mama are going back and forth. And that's not what we wanted. So the original plan was, well, first Kamilah hit me up about coming on to give y'all an update about what's going on in their case with Mayani, or the going-ons with Mayani. And then I seen her mama, a message from her mama. I didn't know it was her mama at first, but I seen a message from her mama. And she wanted to get on and talk about some things that she felt Kamilah said about her that she didn't agree with. She didn't say it on our platform, I don't believe, but on TikTok or whatever. I believe in giving everybody a space to talk, though. So I talked to her about what she wanted to talk about. Then I hollered at Kamilah about us having her on. I didn't want to have her on unless we had them both on together, because we didn't want to have a bunch of back and forth. Okay, I do this video, then this response video, then this response video. We didn't want to have it like that. So I talked to them both on the side. I said, listen, she come on, and Kamilah agreed to them coming on together. I said, listen, Kamilah, you come on, Your mama, let her mama speak her piece with no interruptions, and I asked her mama to do the same. I talked to them both separately. They both agreed. And then I said, maybe at the end, I said, and can we at the end do something where me and Darren come in and we actually talk to y'all about y'all's issues within each other, and within your household, or how you, right, whatever they bottom issues is, to get to the root of it, to maybe bring some peace with them, even if they don't become one, at least they'll be all right, so as you can see, it kind of went left. We just wanted to do this quick disclaimer to let y'all know that ain't what we about, but we still put the episode out. And also Kamilah will get, also what happened is there was an interruption while Kamilah was speaking, so we brought her back in to be able to finish her part with no interruptions, and she also gives you an update on the case. Here's your episode.
To finish that response to what I was saying when I was there the last time was basically not important at this time, because what's most important is for people to know that on February 29th, my son Mayani was medically kidnapped under the fictitious name of Noah. And I've travailed through this entire process pretty much without the support of my mother. Of course, she did have my boys, and I'm appreciative for that. However, I can't continue to relive the past and expect a different outcome in my life. My greatest purpose for the entire process or whatever's going on, not even this entire journey, is to be better and to elevate myself better than what I was before. I don't care what people say about me before. And I'm not here to confirm or deny. I'm not giving no room to negative energy or what it is that I don't desire to see in my life. The only thing I'm focused on is recreating moments with my children that were better than the past, reliving a new life, living in a new era with my offsprings. And so when we were here the last time, she said, okay, well, come and get your kids. I'm going to throw them out on the porch. I'm going to throw them, put their clothes outside. Well, we already had an agreement that on June 24th, May 9th, I come to the state of Kansas City to visit my children because we had begun to work out the transitioning process. So I had to rebuild everything. I lost everything. So it's me restarting and getting stability, right? So we agreed June 24th was the date that we agreed. Well, we come here on June 8th and you're going to get your kids on this day. Well, nonetheless, on June 8th, when she told me to come and get my children, she knew that she had moved and she was no longer even living at the same address in which I had in my mind to come and pick them up from. So she's not even there. You're telling me to come and get them, but you've moved your whole house, Now, I did know that she was moving, but the location was never disclosed to me. Well, long story short, on June 24th, I moved in my place, right? On June 25th, I began to reach out to her like, okay, I'm ready to get the boys. Where can we meet? What can we do? What's the transition? The agreement was June 24th. It's the 25th now. So, no response. So I found out where she stayed. I went to go get my sons. They're at summer camp. Get away from my house. This and this and that. Okay. Well, I found out what summer camp they go to. I go to get my sons and they look like they've never, like that, like I'm a stranger. Like, I'm like, what is she? We was just together. Everybody knew that everybody was in on this. My boys knew that they were coming with me. It was an arrangement. It was time for it to go. Well, when they see me, one of them is shaking. So he's shaking as if he's never known me. Like I'm a complete stranger. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with you? What happened? I mean, why are you shaking so terribly? And nonetheless, though, I don't know what was disclosed to my offsprings about me, but whatever it wasn't good. Either way it goes, I wasn't able to get them that day either. Couple days later, I get a message from a deputy. And this deputy's like, I have some paperwork to serve you. If you're not in trouble, if you don't pick up this paperwork, then we're going to, if you don't pick up this paperwork, something, blah, blah, blah. Right? I'm like, she's trying to get a restraining order on me. And it was once confirmed that she tried to get a restraining order on me after we left the show, after we left here. Okay. So now there's an order from the court that says she doesn't have custody over my two boys. She doesn't have custody over Mayani. So moving forward, what happened when I left the show and I was reunited with Mayani in the state of Texas. On the first day that I seen Mayani, he was severely sick. This is on, I can't remember the date to the exact, but it was some August 8th or something of that nature, something of that sort. He's got bruises all over his body. He's severely sick. Later after that, I found out that they had given him 11 immunizations. So he's got scars all on his body. He's can barely walk. It's the day before I visited him. They gave him that shot. They gave him 6 sets of shots. Okay. So all of this information is being disclosed to my mother. When I have my second visit with Mayani, he once again has all of these bruises on him, all of these scars. He's dirty. He's filthy. So I hotlined the CPS. I hotlined the foster care agent. The foster care agent whose name is Lisa Archer. Okay. So I hotlined them and, long story short, what happened was I terminated the attorney that they appointed me without my consent. They ended up appointing me an attorney by the name of Keisha L. Smith without my consent. I didn't sign any contracts, didn't request her. Okay. Well, when I was able to finally get in the courtroom, I'm terminating all the attorneys. I didn't ask for you. I didn't request for you to be my attorney. They terminate Keisha L. Smith. Okay. Now, should be understood is that when I went into this in the beginning, when I was here the first time, I didn't have the knowledge that I have right now. And the biggest misconception that we always that we have, period, as a people, as a society, is that the courtroom is the superior, and that the judge is the ruler of everything. And, we go through these orders of operation, through these chains of command, believing that there is justice and believing that these people care. These people don't care nothing about nothing that we have going on. They looked me straight in my face when I asked them, where was my son at when he went missing for almost a week and a half, and he pops back up with surgery done to his heart. Nonetheless, though, it's all about them utilizing us as a business. This is nothing more than a business. Our children are nothing more than a business. So once I was able to see things through a different spectrum, okay, I started moving differently through the courts. It's not about the common law. It's not about the Constitution. It's not about the policies. It's all about filing claims. That's what it's all about. Business, bonds, and banking. That's what it's about, period. So what I did was I went to the capital of Texas, okay, Austin, Texas. And when I went to Austin, Texas, I had the governor, Greg Abbott, the Secretary of State, Jane Nelson, the Health and Human Services Commissioner, Cecil Irwin, and then the Commissioner of Department of Family Protective Services, Stephanie Muth. I had them served with a notice of intent to sue. I told them, you got 10 days to respond or I'm suing everybody in your private capacity. You in violation, boom, boom, boom. 10 days, Mayani was home. I literally went to the Capitol, walked in these places and had them served. Nonetheless, though, after we go through all of these different challenges, after I go through all of these different challenges through the court, it's now time for you. Cases has been dismissed. You feel me? It's now time for you to give me what's mine, my offsprings. This is the agreement. Well, now you don't want to give them to me. What you want is a certain level of energy from me that I am not willing to exert. Rather than you being upset with me because I'm still moving forward and helping other people with their situation, because it's no longer just about me. It's about all of the children who have been kidnapped through these CPS systems and victimized in the families that have been broke up. So just because I'm going through something, I'm not going to stop fulfilling the mission. Because you in the background are telling or making it seem you're creating an illusion to my children that I don't love them, that I'm not coming to get them, that I'm just out here living my best life, but I'm leaving a digital footprint to show my kids I've been out here on ass ever since day one, and I'm not going to stop. You see what I'm saying? I wasn't going to allow that situation to break me, because that's what happens. These people, when you tear a family apart, when you separate a mother from her creation, that is a spiritual attack that no one will ever understand. And they can say whatever they want to say, but until you get yours snatched up, you cannot relate. Period, point blank. Just the same as you can't relate with a person who gets incarcerated or a person who loses someone that they love, you know? And so basically, with all that being said, I'm not stopping. That's pretty much the case. I'm not going to exert energy calling and give me my kids doing all of this. Okay, you want to do things how you want to do things. I will allow you to self-destruct, because I'm moving in love. I'm moving in a higher frequency. I'm moving in a higher vibration. I will not allow for you to talk down to me, to make me feel less than, because I'm never the same. Every day I'm constantly changing. Every day I'm constantly evolving. And that is the mission. So you bring up the past and or you bring up what you feel I should have did, and you say I'm a witch, and you say I'm that don't move me. I'm not going to give you an energy that you don't deserve. But what I will say is, I'm going to get what's mine. I declared this victory over my situation, and I will not waver on my desired outcome. It always works out for me. So if it is being, people can say whatever they want to say, because it was brought to my attention also that she's calling the daycares and telling the daycares that I got a substance abuse issue. It's a lot of things that are going on to defamate my character, but I move in glory, and it ain't nothing nobody can do about it. So, that's where we are with that situation. And what I wanted to be, what my situation is going to do is it's going to ignite an evolution and a revolution amongst the people that say we do not have to give these folks our offsprings. This is a form of kidnap. This is kidnapping at its finest, for financial gain, for profit. So we don't have to give our kid. Why are we? The mentality, you wouldn't just give your kid to me. I'm a random stranger. Why do they have the right to do this? So the mission is no longer just about me and my story and just my Yanni. This is greater, because I've had stories told to me that I'm like, wow. I've met people who were in the system and were victimized by the system. But this is not a fight for me, because I already came in triumphant. And so that's what I'm standing on. And that's what it is.
YouTube user at lovelyheartyn5dc says, "Please, can you give an update on her case? Tell her, don't give up, and wish and hope her and her baby is returned back to her immediately, and people be held accountable for their actions, no matter who they are."
Okay, well, the update was that I filed a lawsuit against the state of Texas, against the state of Minnesota, Hennepin County, Texas Children's Hospital, et cetera, et cetera. The plan was to terminate my rights, like you heard in the video. However, once they seen that the lawsuit was in effect, they scattered and were basically like, okay, well, we're not going to terminate her right. We're going to dismiss the case and leave the grandmother as the managing conservator. However, what they did was they left the attorneys on the case. Like, the way that they set up the order is very fraudulent, to say the least. But nonetheless, though, Mayani right now at this point, I want to be as transparent as possible. He still has not been in my care, and I still have not received a second opinion. His health is declining rapidly because he is still experiencing negative side effects from the medication. When I seen my son on May 9th, he was severely thin. His skin was severely and excessively dry. He has a dark tint to him. He's experiencing kidney issues, bladder issues, and he is also having a thick green mucus constantly pour from his nose. And, she refuses to. I went to try to set up natural holistic doctors as well as top professionals who deal with heart conditions so that I can see. I still don't know what has fully happened to my son. And January was the first time that I received any court documentation. I I had, throughout the entire process, I was just basically fighting with a blind eye, just going off of what I felt because they would not release the information to me. And in January 2025 is when they finally released the medical records. What I do know is that they were double billing for two different people, you know what I mean? They were double billing. I seen the document where they created the fictitious character of Noah, Christian D. Menifee, and the custodian of records at Texas Children's Hospital in Houston, Texas, named Richard Ruthven. They came and they put literally on an affidavit and had it notarized, creating the fictitious character Noah, changing the last year of Noah's birthday, and then they have Mayani's birthday there. So they intentionally created two entities so that they could label Noah as abandoned. Okay, and so when a child is left abandoned, that means that they are a ward of the state. So when they had listed Noah as abandoned, that is what they utilized to justify or legitimize the surgery that they did to him. Now, from what my understanding is, I don't know what the name of this device that they put in my son's heart is called, but it is a form of a GPS. Okay. It is a form of a GPS. A doctor by the name of Michael Bornstein, who gave Mayani the 11 immunizations. Okay. When I requested the records for the immunizations from the Department of Health, they stated that they don't have any immunization records in the system. However, the immunization records that my mother has says it only lists 5 or 6. So basically, they shot them up with 11 immunizations and then tried to distort the record, not knowing that, I had the original with the 11. So Mayani is not in good condition, and I'm just going to keep it real, 10,000%. So that's where we at with that.
What do you think would be the reasoning for them to put a form of a GPS inside of a baby?
Okay, so like I was trying to say when we did the interview last time was that a couple months prior, Mayani had just had a cardiology exam because it was saying that the PDA was still open. That's why he was doing a follow-up. That cardiologist, I can't pronounce his name and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but he was like, okay, it's closing. It's good. We'll see you in 6 months. Well, in that 6-month time frame, this is when Mayani ends up getting back sick or whatever. So this device it's supposed to be to fill the hole, but the hole was never big enough. I remember he showed me the image. He showed me the image of what they seen, and it was like a centimeter. He was like, it's basically closed. These are his exact words. So what they went and stuffed in there, and the reason that I say GPS because my mother said that when they go to the doctor and they do they look for the device with a certain type of tool. So if you are charting the device with this tool, that means it's a form of a GPS. If this can find it, that's a GPS to me. You feel me? If this can find it, what else is in this thing? So that's what I say.
On YouTube, at Alyssa says, she's sovereign but still attempts to use her amendment rights and uses government assistance. She believes the hospital is just a corporation but still took her son in to get treatment. Some people are not mentally fit to have children.
Oh, yeah. But it said basically still use the hospital, still take her child to the hospital. Okay. Well, starting off there, if it's a state of emergency and I'm unable to properly diagnose, or I'm noticing that my child is in a condition where it's an emergency, I'm going to utilize the healthcare system that has been provided to us, because I am not against the hospital providing services that assist people in getting better or that assist people in their time of emergency or need, right? But what I know for a fact is that the hospitals have not been put here to heal. They have not been put here to, they don't know everything because it is a medical practice, okay? So when we think about practices, we think about them practicing just as the law firm practices. It's all a form of practice, and they're Googling and they're learning and they're still researching. That is a form of an institute, a learning institute. So that's my answer to that. And when we speak about food stamps, well, let's take it all the way back. We have birth certificates. We have social securities that creates the estate. they make you believe that they are in fact giving you a benefit, but every benefit that we receive, whether it be housing from Section 8, whether it be food stamps or Medicaid, those funds come from our estate that is created off of the fictitious corporation, the all caps name. So when we speak of sovereignty for me is not it's not a piece of paper. Sovereignty is a mentality. It is a right. It's a birthright. It's not nothing that I'm thinking this paper is going to turn me to sovereign. I am a sovereign being. I was born that way. I have free will and I have free range to make whatever decisions that I choose. I come from royalty. So I am sovereign, whether it be on paper or not. So utilizing the Constitution, that is why I said I came in with a new revelation because I was going at it on the Constitution, the common law, oh, this and that. But then I learned this is nothing more than a business. This is nothing more than accounting. This is nothing more than securities exchanging. You see what I'm saying? And so once I was able to step back and view things in its proper perspective, beyond the smoke and mirrors, the intimidation tactics, I was able to move in a different manner. And so that's my response to that.
On YouTube, at No Name says, narcotics has always been used in hospitals. Fent has always been used in hospitals. Regardless, she's not a doctor.
Fentanyl should not be given to anyone. If you see it's dropping the whole adults, just because the doctor wants to give it to them, that doesn't mean that they have the right to do so without providing the patient the opportunity of having informed consent. All hospitals must give the patients informed consent. This is the reason why we have the laws, the HIPAA laws, and the laws of the patient's rights, so that we can make the decisions that we choose. Just because we choose to utilize the hospital's resources, that does not mean that we have to take whatever medications that they give us. We do not have to take their recommendations. We always have a right to a second opinion. We have the right to refuse services. So you don't give a baby fentanyl without getting the parent's consent first, and that parent having the informed decision to know what are the side effects of these medications. If this happens. So that's my response to that.
Simple Money, 1833. I think this is TikTok. I'm not sure.
On YouTube, at Simple Money 1833 says, why didn't she pump and leave milk if he was breastfed? Why didn't she make his food as usual and bring it to hospital? CPS knows her business. Because she posted online. She said she's on live from the hospital. You self-snitching. The 17-year-old didn't tell on you. You did. Unfortunately, we don't own any hospitals, so you gotta play their game. I hope she learned something about her own accountability and gets the help she needs for her children. All her children. Hopefully, there is family and fathers that can help.
So there's another one about fathers. So
Yeah. They pretty much went in. Okay, so basically what they're saying is, why didn't I pump the breast and why didn't I fix the food? Okay, well, furthermore, Mayani was transitioning off of the breast at the time. So he was on a milk called oat milk, MALK. So I would use that. However, when I got to the hospital, I was using that in conjunction with the breast milk. As far as making his food and making him juices and stuff, I was doing that. If you watch the video, when I first came in, I said that I was giving him my own natural remedies, giving him sea mosses, giving him different juices. So that was being done. However, what you cannot say is, why didn't you do this? When you have other children and then you have a baby in the hospital, my main concern, I don't know what nobody else's is, but I want to be with my baby 25/8. I ain't about to be home blending up food, and I'm gonna do what I do when I get there. But my main concern is to be there when he wakes up and to be there when he goes to bed. That way he does not feel that he is ever abandoned or alone by himself. That was when my baby wake up, he need to see me. When he go to bed, he need to see me. So spending as much time as possible at the hospital was important for me. And then as far as with the 17-year-old, I'm not going to speak on the 17-year-old. Because he's not here to defend himself and he hasn't been able to say what his piece is or whatever the case may be, because I'm not here to point the finger at nobody. Accountability for protecting my offsprings, for utilizing social media for what it's supposed to be for. If I got to be held accountable for that, I am. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to bring light to my situation. And by bringing light to my situation, it encourages other people who've gone through the same things to do the same. The only way to get change is to do something different. I'm not going to sit in the dark about my situation and beat myself down. No, I'm going to expose, reveal, and remove every time. Full 10 toes down.
On YouTube, at Victor Lopez FF1MF says, a 17-year-old child is still a minor till he turns 18 years old. So you're mad because CPS is talking a minor without parental permission. But you have no problem kicking out a 17-year-old minor. You can't have it both ways, lady.
Well, let's first of all put this, let's put this on way. The 15-year-old left. I mean, the 17-year-old left, okay? As a mom, as a single mom, and I hate to refer to myself as a single mom because I have a community, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, though, boys get to a state in their life where they're like, we're going to do what we want to do. And that's with any adolescent, male or female. I'm not going to have a hostile environment in my home. So I can't try to control something that's out of my control. I can't force anybody to do what they don't want to do. Everyone has the right to free will, you know? So I have to make the best decisions that at that time I had to make the best decisions for the household. You know what I'm saying? If the dynamic of the household is out of alignment, then that which is causing it to be out of alignment must be removed. So if you want to, just from the outside looking in, I'm not the only woman who has ever had a child that they couldn't control or had a situation that was that you had to remove that child from the situation for the betterment of the home. I'm not the only one, and I don't feel no type of way about it.
Yeah. Another one for Mayani, going back to Mayani.
Mm-hmm.
On YouTube, at Dr. Dorinda Roll says, where is the father? Could he not help? Or the child be put in his custody until she can get things worked out?
The father is going to be told about in the book. His name is Mayani. So if you want to read the book, you can go ahead and get the full-fledged tea on the book, and that'll be coming soon. So I won't be addressing any father because that's the question I always get.
So
on YouTube, at Veronica Porter 8047 says, I'm going through the same thing with CPS. Every kid I have, they take. I am fighting to get my kids back. But one of my sons, I don't know where he's at. And it happened to CPS. They are children, mothers, for not having enough money to... It doesn't even matter if you got a job and you're trying. They would still try to take your kids.
Okay, well, like I said, if I had not have gone through this experience and being in the process of while it was going on, see, I have been, along this journey, I've been observing everything and learning from everything. So, like I said, in the beginning, I thought that it was all about the Constitution, and I thought it was all about our common law rights and things of that nature. But no, they're two separate. The United States Corporation is not the United States of America, two different entities, right? They go off of a different set of laws. So, when they tell you, oh, you need to do psychology, you need to get a job, you need to do this, that's just a way for them to allow certain bonds to mature, because every time you appear to court, there's a bond. Anything, there is always a bond affiliated, okay? So when it comes to them having you to go to classes and do drug testing, that is ways for them to incentivize off of that bond or securitize those bonds. So basically everything that they do is only for profit. And when we go in the emotional, this isn't right, we're going in with the morality of it. We think we know this is wrong, we've been violated, but that's not the business that they're in. They're in the business of energy harvesting. This is a parasitic energetic vampire system. and they are taking, it's more than paper. It's bigger than that. It's deeper. It's on a spiritual level. So when they take you and stretch you thin and say, okay, we got your child, but we want you to go to this class, this class, this class, and this class, and do this and do that. They not telling you to do that because they care about you being a better parent. They telling you to do that because they get paid every time you do it. They don't care about you, your kids, nobody. So when we going in this thing and we are thinking with our emotions and we're allowing them to be the puppet master by stringing our kids in our face and, violating us in various ways, when we act out of our emotion, we are giving them what they want. Instead, you strategically play the game. You set the pieces up on the board and you line them up and knock them down. So, it's not anything. You don't have to know. People don't move because they don't have the knowledge, but you need to take the first step to do something, because just crying and telling people what happened, that's not helping the situation. You need to, if you care about your kids and you want your kids back, you keep going until you get them. You don't have to have all the knowledge. Start somewhere. And that's how I see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I see you have business bonds banking on your cup, on your shirt, on your hat. What is this?
Well, what happened was I ended up starting an academy, business bonds and banking, because that's what it's all about. All the way, whether it would be from agriculture to courtrooms to health and human services, whatever the case may be, everything is business bonds and banking. So if you can disassociate the emotional side, the common law side, getting all involved and learn that this is business bonds and banking. How do these systems work? What systems are what systems are they utilizing to be able to snatch our offsprings or to be able to violate me? Or what systems do they have to even function? Who does what there? What is their position? What is their title? What are they supposed to do according to their title? Where is the full accounting ledger? Where are the contracts? We need to be asking these type of questions. Who gave you consent to represent me before the Treasury? Because see, the biggest misconception that we've had, but what I've learned is that when you want to recuse a judge or you want to report an attorney, you report them to the bar or the Judicial Misconduct Division. But no, in fact, all of them work for the Treasury. They must be in good standing before the Treasury. They are to be reported to the Secretary of Treasury. You know what I mean? You don't report them to the bar. You report them to the Office of Professional Responsibility, which is a division from the Treasury. See, so you sending in, you want the judge to be recused. You asking the judge to recuse himself. Everybody in the room in the game, except you. You the only one getting played. You the only one in here looking stupid. Yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. Why are we taking oaths to their Bible for whatever it is that they say? This is not my spiritual belief. Why do I need to put my hand here and make an oath to you to tell the truth when everything in here is lies? So that's what business bonds and banking is. It teaches you to follow the money, eliminate your emotions, and hit on target every time. We run around aimlessly because we don't know what to do, because we don't look for what to do behind fear of what the judge said. I don't care what no man in a black robe said. That's not my judge. That's an administrative executor. That's all he do. He's there for civil matters, and everything they bring us in the court for is a tax matter. It's not about the crime or what the victim did or the defendant. Ain't about none of that. It's business, bonds, and banking from the top to the bottom. And so, yeah.
How's it been going since you started this and been talking about it on TikTok lately? Because, I mean, from what I've seen on your live and stuff, with the comments and stuff, it looked like a lot of people are going through the same thing you went through, and some people are just looking for the knowledge too. So how's it going with people reaching out to you, and like what are some of the cases that stand out to you, if you can think of any?
Oh, wow. We can speak about, okay, I've met people who have not only had their offsprings kidnapped, okay, but I've worked with people who have been victims of the system. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? And one of the stories that stood out to me the most was when I spoke to one of the victims, and, a quick summary is their mother was having some issues, substance abuse, and she left them at the park, and they ended up taking counting them as abandoned. And so she said that the first day that she got to the foster home, The first day, she was like, the woman, she said she remember the woman had a folder. She gave it to a man at the door. She said, as soon as she gets in the door, it's, you feel me? Like, straight, you know what I mean? Ruthless. Threw her in the closet. You know what I'm saying? Took her through in the closet. Only time she come out is when it's time to do it again. You know what I'm saying? And so either way it goes, she ended up telling somebody at school, and they ended up telling on the house. Well, what happened was, because she's considered abandoned, they come to the house, told the people that she told at school, left her there. And that's a whole nother story. So nonetheless, though, that gave me a highlight on what we truly looking at. We sitting up here whining and crying to these people about what's happening to our kids, seeing what's happening with our kids, when they full-fledged know. You dropped her off at the door, knowing what goes on here. You feel me? You create broken children. You can continue to create a broken system where you have pedophilia, molestation, murder, because they full of rage and anger, sadness from feeling abandoned. You feel what I'm saying? You can create different type of monsters within the matrix. Because you continue in the repetitive cycle. That's that spiritual aspect of it. So when you see, oh, he shot up a school, he shot up a movie theater, he did this, where did he come from? Was he a part of the foster system? You feel what I'm saying? So, but one of the stories, but what's happened is I've helped countless people, not just with CPS, whether it be a court case for criminal, whether it be debt collection, whether it be just a school overstepping their boundaries. You know, I've been able to encourage and inspire people to take action against whatever adversity is coming to deprive you of your birthright. And that's your sovereignty, whatever we want to call it. You feel me? I'm not stuck in on that. But there are certain things that go on, and they continue to go on because we don't say nothing. So I'm reminded of when a woman, she come to me and she was like, listen, I don't got that much, you know, but I need this. And she told me the story of how they threw her son and his wife in prison because trying to say that they kidnapped their offspring. But nonetheless, she was pregnant. And she knew that she had the baby, but she didn't know where the baby was. Well, she honed in on a hospital. And they were like, oh, well, we don't know what you're talking about. I said, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give them a notice of intent to sue. We about to find the highest ranking entity within this division, you know, person. And in 3 days, we got that grandbaby home. You see what I'm saying? So even though I don't have my children, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing, because all of what I'm doing is going to pay off. I'm not moving just to show it. I'm moving with pure intention. You feel what I'm saying? And to empower people to stand, because we not going. And that's that.
Would you say you found purpose in this?
Most definitely. I'm not the same person who was at the door when she was when she was asking me to volunteer to give my son, Ebony Cobbins. I'm not the same woman that went on the run in an attempt to save our children. I'm not the same woman who went into jail. I'm not the same woman that came out the jail. You see what I'm saying? Every time I'm always evolving. That's what this has taught me. Only way that it's not going to go is when I stop. You know, when I give up. And it's not a thing of I'm pushing it, I'm trying to make this happen. I'm in flow. I'm in alignment. I'm always in the right place at the right time doing the right things. You know what I'm saying? And it don't matter what it look like. We just gotta keep going. Just keep on going, because we will have justice. They gonna get what they got coming to them, whether it be in the physical or the, the spiritual. So
Yeah, would you?
yeah. I'm like, what?
You know what it remind me? You know what it remind me of?
What?
I don't know if you see that TikTok where old girl was talking about God and everything. I love her too.
Lord forbid it.
You keeping that in? But what is like something that, when it comes to what you do and the comments you receive or whatever, if you pay attention to them, if any of them, what is something you can't stand the most? Like something people may say commonly that just like you can't get with it.
People that speak fear. They speak fear. They say, oh, I'm just, something they holler, they say, oh, I'm scared, or what if this happens, or they say, oh, protect this woman at all costs, and they move in a fear. It's, even if a person doesn't say, oh, I'm scared, you can read the comments that are fear-based, and that's what I'm not. I stand in this fearless. You feel me? I stand in this knowing that it's all good. So when I get those fear-based comments, I just kind of be like, whatever. But the internet is the internet. And no matter how much we aspire to change the world and want everybody to be oneness and all, it's a balance. You're going to have your sheep and you're going to have the leaders. That's just period. So people have that sheep mentality. They have that run to the colonizer. You know what I mean? They have that let us go to the court, because even when I think about the situation with my mom, after all of what I've been through, you want to go back to the court. I mean, I don't. Why would you ever want to do such a thing? You know what I'm saying? So people have that run to the man type of mentality. So I just let them do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In closing, I want to ask you, so looking back at the other episode or thinking back to it, there was a part where you started to tear up a bit, and you were talking about not losing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like when you got, like, you went through that whole episode just super strong, and then like the tears started formulating once you said don't lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, because in this whole fight it's possible to lose yourself. Was there ever any time where you lost yourself or felt like you were losing yourself within the fight?
Most definitely.
What did that look like for you?
Man, it looked like a lot of isolation. It looked like darkness, because literally I would go and sit in a room, and I was some friends had took me in, my sister twins, they took me in, and I was sitting in the room. It was just like, and they would come in like, did you eat? Did you know what I'm saying? Did you drink? Did you do anything? And it was just, it would be coming in spurts, because at this time I don't know where my son is. I don't know what's going on with him. And what my mom likes to say is that I don't care about my other boys. I only care about Mayani. Well, Mayani's a baby and he's a victim. I love all of my sons. In whatever dynamic, I love them, because people say equally, but we have different connections with every child. You know what I'm saying? And so nonetheless, though, it was just a matter of, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? Not knowing which way to turn. But it was one of those things like, this ain't the end of my story. This can't end like this. Like, all of this cannot be in vain. Like, hell nah, I'm not accepting that. I done went off a couple times on the Most High, the source. You feel me? Just the universe, or whatever the case may be. But it looked like being like, rather than, okay, you should be working on this paperwork, you should be working on that paperwork, I'll procrastinate it, because I don't want to face that. I don't want to read that. I don't want to keep reliving that. So I'll go and do procrastination. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it looks like. And I know that years ago when I was younger, I had a cousin named Yolanda. She ended up passing away, but her children kept getting taken by the system. And she turned to drugs, and she turned to alcohol. I don't know if she drank, but drugs. It was, you know what I'm saying? And now I know how it can eat you alive. It can literally eat you alive. Every time you having a baby, they coming and taking it. Every time, you know what I'm saying? Your kids are somewhere and you doing all of this to get them back, and they playing in your face. It can truly, and you using the drugs or whatever you using to fill a void as an escape. And what I did was I refused to escape it. I went through it. I go through whatever it is that I needed to feel, because in order for, you can't grow unless you go through it. You know what I'm saying? And you can't come out of it unless you go through it. So this is where I just take it. This is where I am now, but this is what I desire. So anything else is a distraction, because I see that. I see where I'm going,
Yeah.
And you gonna fall. But what's important is that you get back up. And that's where I'm at with it.
Was postpartum ever a thing in this whole situation?
And you know what? I asked myself that the other day, because literally, ever since I had Mayani, which she told you about what happened in the hospital, but that's on my page, because it was one of those things where it was like, I think I probably did. I probably went through postpartum in jail, but it never settled in because it been nothing but boom, 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 boom. You know what I'm saying? So I most definitely believe that I may have experienced some postpartum, but at what point I'm not for sure.
Right, and that's why I was asking because,
Mm-hmm.
like, to be going through like the whole kidnapping thing
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with the hospitals and stuff, can that be recognized? And like you said, you didn't recognize it, but you probably was going through it and
Mm-hmm.
stuff
Mm-hmm.
too. So
Oh yeah, most definitely. They said, oh, because they tried to make me do psychiatry to get my, a part of my requirements. Well, I went and found my own psychiatrist. I'm not using y'all's. And they had said that I had PTSD. And I was like, well, I mean, whatever y'all want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not with the diagnosis. You feel me? You want to put PTSD down on paper. So in hindsight, it can come back and try to. I'm like, no, no, no. My situation brought forth the PTSD. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not running around here manic PTSD. You feel what I'm saying? But nonetheless, though.
but do you believe in like psychiatry and therapy and stuff like that? Do you?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I believe in having a healthy outlet. I believe in having a circle of people around you that have experienced it to be able to give you sound advice. That's what's helped me. Because it may look like, because people just see me, but I have had loads of support, tons of support. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, yeah.
So if you're not finding, uh, if we remove the work,
Mm-hmm.
not let's say you may find some type of peace in helping people or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but removing that and removing the people around you that are your support system, is there a place where you find peace?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I learned how to transmute energy. How to transmute energy. So, when I was in the room dark and I was going, and at times whenever I go through those situations, I'll take that energy that I'm feeling that's creating like the sadness into me, or, creating, making me feel less, or, making me feel a certain way. I'll take it and start to think about my kids. Imagine myself cooking them breakfast, imagining myself laughing, having movie night, going swimming, going to the park. I'll start to think of the things that can take that and change it into what I want it to be. And so I meditate, I journal, I affirm, I do hair, but I like to create, and I like to take time in nature. And a part of being accountable is that you have to know what's there. You can't be accountable for stuff that you don't know is there, So I go within. I don't have a problem. Like if I ask, oh, give me more patience, and something pop up where I gotta stand in the line, 20 people, well, there it is right there, Or if I pop off, okay, well, you're not getting it yet. So
Yeah.
I just take it and know that I'm never alone and that I'm always good, and those things that I do help me. And every time that I utilize these mechanisms, it always ends up being exactly how I wanted it to be. And that's where I get the glory in that.
What is something you recognize in yourself that you hold yourself accountable for, that you like, yeah, that's,
Mm.
I could probably, or some, if you don't now, something you've had to
Oh yeah. I mean,
recognize
still to
within
this day.
yourself. Yeah.
No, I still get upset. I still like, as I'm healing through this journey, the rage in there. Don't get it wrong. The
Mm.
rage in there. You feel me? And the rage, it can come out to anybody. It can be so, being more intentional about my words, my emotions, and my actions. That's how the accountability comes into play. Like, okay, I know, I'm working through this daily, showing up daily, but this can pop off. Now be aware of yourself, be aware of what's going on. What is it? Because the only thing that exists is what you give your attention to. And if something's going on in my life that's making it seem tumultuous, I have to be responsible for that creation. What was I thinking? What did I do? Some form of fashion, I attracted this to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I feel. If we even take it to the Mayani situation, I feel that my biggest fear was losing my children and going to jail. Why these was my two biggest fears, I have no idea. But I would see, like, I kept having these premonitions of police coming past the window. I kept having it. And then it finally happened. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the? I attracted this to me. You know what I'm saying? I attracted my fear to me. And so since I went to jail and went through the situation with my children, what else do I have to fear now? You feel what I'm saying? Like, okay, now what? So, yeah.
One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the rage, would you say, with what you said, would you say or you're caging the rage, or would you say you're dealing with it or trying to figure out how to deal with it still?
I figured out how to transmute it. That's what, basically changing it to something, because when I'm going through when I'm doing lawsuits, when I'm doing my lawsuit or I'm working on, and I read, how they, I have to read the 11 immunizations, this, and that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It builds up, but like, but then I take it like, nah, they ain't getting up with that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And rather than getting up, because at one point I just get up and walk away like, I ain't dealing with that right now. But then I'm like, nah, you feel me? Keep on,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
You think that's healthy?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And it ain't even just about the work, because me sitting here, it sounds like, oh, she's just always beating the keyboard always. No, I move when my intuition tell me to move. You feel me? I move when I feel it. You know what I mean? And every time I do that, and I'm not worried about how, when I do that and I make that move, it always hit every time. So yes.
Is there anything else you would like to?
Yes, I had established a bill called the Miami Law, which is to hold CPS agents accountable, who especially conspire with hospitals to take offsprings, holding them fully accountable. But most importantly, the thing about this Miami Law, it allows for natural guardians, what we refer to as parent, but the natural guardian, to protect their offsprings by any means. We shouldn't have to you come with the police in a badge. Yeah, everybody's in costume. You coming to me telling me to give you a whole body? You tell me to give you my whole creation with no repercussion. Then you take them and they in danger with you. You the danger. So this bill is so that we can stand our ground. So the point of it is you're going to debate whether you're ready to violate some rights or do your job correctly, or is you going to make it home, because you're a threat to us. This system is not here to help us. At least what they doing, they not here to help us. So why am I having to debate on whether I'm going to put my child in danger or keep them safe? No, you're going to, but nonetheless though, it also is for those who have children who have disabilities. If they are diagnosed with something from a doctor who is not in the specialty of whatever condition that your child has, it allows for us to get a second opinion from one who has expertise in Down syndrome, who has expertise in autism. You're just somebody over here. You don't know this child's history. You don't know anything about this diagnosis. You're just saying something. So it sets up different advocacies for us. But yes, I have established that law, and the petition is on my website as well.
We need comments. We need y'all to at Jubilee. Need a 20v1. Get you. Have you ever seen that? Jubilee? They'll have like one person with a certain way of thinking versus people who oppose their way of thinking.
I think that is
20. So it'd be like one cop versus 20 gangsters.
Right.
And they sit in the middle and they debate like that thing. Jubilee, holla at her.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that'd be tough.
Yeah.
So the goal is to leave a lasting imprint on their minds and their hearts. We pray you've been indelibly marked. Yes.
Yes.